Hello, anybody watching. My name is Dylan, and I like to build houses in The Sims 4. Today, I am finally getting back on track with my Family Guy houses. Today, I am doing Joe Swanson's house here. This house ends up having 4 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. I think here in the video portion of this, I ended up making the floor plan have 3 bedrooms, 2 on the second floor and 1 on the first floor, but then I went back into the game later and was able to turn one of the bedrooms into 2 bedrooms, so it does end up actually having 4 bedrooms, and you can see that at the end of the video. I'm not actually sure what type of house this is considered to be. Maybe a Cape Cod style, definitely a New England style house, but I'm not exactly sure what type of house this would actually be if it were a real life house, which is kind of surprising to me because I do tend to know pretty well just by looking at a house what style it is, but I for some reason cannot figure out this one here, but whatever. So like I said, this house is actually based on Joe Swanson's house from Family Guy. I tried to follow pictures and follow memory just like I did in the last 2 Family Guy houses, although I did decide to take some creative liberties, especially with the floor plan on the first floor, because of the fact that the rooms in this house are actually, they're much bigger in the TV show than they would realistically be, based on the whole shape of the house. I think in the TV show, the living room is supposed to go pretty much from the front all the way to the back of the house. At least that's what it looks like. But if that were the case, that's just huge, both in real life and in The Sims 4. So I decided to not do that, and I cut the room. I made the room smaller. It's about half the size of the house, but I just wasn't. I guess I could have made the living room, the entire length of the house there, but it would have ended up being a little bit too big. It really wouldn't have worked. I would not have been able to fit all the bedrooms and stuff and the bathrooms in this house, because then they all would have had to go on the second floor, and the second floor is a little bit too narrow to really get to get anything up there. I was able to get 3 bedrooms, 2 of which are kind of small, and then one of them is bigger. But to try to get another bedroom up there wouldn't really have worked. And not only that, I think in the TV show, the Joe and Bonnie's bedroom is actually on the first floor there, which makes sense because Joe is in a wheelchair and he doesn't really go upstairs. In fact, I think though in the TV show that their daughter Susie, her room is supposed to be on the first floor as well, if I can remember correctly, because there's an episode from a couple years ago where they're having, I think it's Bonnie's birthday party, and at their house, and all of Joe's friends come over, and Joe tells his friends that he had an affair with one of his coworkers at the police station, and Bonnie overhears it because he is talking to his friends in Susie's room as he's changing her diaper or something, and there's no way that room would have been upstairs, because how would he have gotten up there? He's got a wheelchair. And I think like the next scene, it's like it shows them leaving Susie's room, and then they all go back into the living room, and they have a big blow up fight in front of the entire neighborhood, and they're like, I want a divorce. It's just one episode that I remember, but it's one of the main episodes I think that really shows off this house. So I did want to do it that way. I wanted to put Susie's bedroom on the first floor, but I couldn't quite figure out the floor plan anyway, so I just decided to make it up a little bit, and I used pictures and videos just to just to use as a reference, but I didn't exactly try to make it quite as accurate as I did with the Griffin family house, just because I didn't really see it as necessary to do so. I thought it was, if I had tried to make it super accurate, then this video would have been longer than it already was, and I think I've got about just under 2 hours worth of footage just with this pretty simple house anyway. So I was like, if I spend so much time, trying to make the floor plan work on the interior, like exactly what it looks like in the show, then I'm just going to spend way too much time. And to be honest, nobody even really cares about that. People are mostly, when they download these houses, they're more interested in making the exterior, they want to download a house that the exterior looks right. They don't really care as much about the interior. And with Joe's house anyway, the interior seems to change quite a bit. So what does it? It does not really matter, I guess, is all I'm saying. So here I am trying to landscape the yard. Fun fact, or not so fun fact, you'll see it in a second, but I put everything down in the yard, and then I don't remember why, but for some reason I had to leave the lot and then go back in. And when I went back in, all of the terrain paint that you see me put down in just a second was gone. And that's not the first time that's happened. That actually happened on my Bernie Sanders house from a couple days ago, and I think the Cleveland Browns house as well. I went out of the game and then I went back in a little bit later, and all of the terrain paint was gone. And like I said, that happened with this one too. So basically everything that you're watching ends up not being in the final released house, which you can find on my gallery. Which was really frustrating. I mean, I guess it wasn't that big a deal because it didn't take that long to put the terrain paint down in this house. This house obviously is not a big mansion, or a well landscaped house, that requires a lot of terrain paint. But if it had been, I would have been really kind of mad. But I guess it all kind of worked out because the terrain paint that I used for when I went back in, it ended up looking better anyway, but that was about 10-ish minutes of, well, maybe not 10 minutes, but a chunk of time that I had spent putting in the terrain paint only for it to not show up when I went out. And I didn't even, leave the game. All I did was go out into the neighborhood view and then back in. You can see me doing right there. And all the terrain paint was gone. So I was like, I still don't quite get that. I don't know why that's happening, and I'm not quite sure if that is something that other people are noticing or if it's happened to other people. I haven't seen anybody say anything about it, but I guess I don't really know. But that was a really long rant for something that people probably don't actually care about. But that, there are problems sometimes in Sims 4 that I just need to rant about, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know why I bother playing this game for 15 years, because it doesn't even work. And I'm just kidding. I'm being a little bit dramatic. But here you can see I'm finally getting the interior furnishings, as close as possible. Like I said, I think some of it is not... it's not exactly, correct, but the general feel of it is about right, which is important to me, more so than, making sure everything is, exactly in the right spot, especially in these animated houses as well. A lot of times, because they have to reanimate scenes, stuff in the house ends up changing per episode anyway, so I don't really feel that bad about it not being that perfect, but... I really actually like the living room a lot. It's a lot of furniture that I usually do use, actually, but I don't usually use those colors. I don't use a lot of green in my Sims houses. Not exactly sure why. I think I use a lot of beiges, a lot of very neutral tones, a lot of kind of like a lighter yellow even. I actually do use a lot of red. Not that carpet very often, but I like red. Red is my favorite color, so I use red in general in most of my houses. But like I said, not that carpet. If it was real, I don't think I'd want it. I think if I moved into a house that had that red carpet, I would not be using it. I would gut it and take stuff out. I have actually put carpet in. I know how to. I can't do it anymore, but my mom used to buy houses, fix them up, and then resell them. And she had to put carpet in some of them, and so I helped her kick the carpet in with my knee, and then we actually did it in our basement downstairs. So I do know how to put carpet in, and if I was putting carpet in, I would not put in red carpet. That would not be my job to do. Absolutely not. But anyway, so here is The kitchen, I like the kitchen a lot. It's a little bit smaller than what is suggested in the TV show, but it mostly works. This house does not have its own, formal dining area, but you could certainly turn the living room into one if you decided you wanted one. There's also a little bit of space in that kind of hallway-ish room, but I guess it's really not that big a deal. A lot of times when you make dining rooms in The Sims, it doesn't even end up really mattering because if you have a table set in the kitchen, you don't end up using it that much anyway. So a lot of times dining rooms are mostly just for show in The Sims, as they kind of are in real life as well. But so I guess it's very realistic, I would say, just to not necessarily have a dining room, because not every single house has its own separate dining room. But one thing I also noticed too with this house is I didn't quite make it so that it would be easy to navigate if you actually were coming in a wheelchair. In the TV show, it looks like his house is more, wheelchair friendly than this. But I did try to use those big open archways and tried to make the things look a little bit more like somebody could get through if they wanted to with a wheelchair. I usually do end up using archways that are centered on the one tile instead of a big open one, but oh well. Wheelchairs aren't a thing in Sims 4 anyway, at least not as far as the main game goes. Although I do think there are mods, but whatever. Second floor here, you can kind of see where Susie's room is. It's the pink room with the pink carpet. Here with this footage, it is just one room, and then I ended up cutting it into 2 rooms, like I said. And then I also furnished a relatively large bedroom on the other end of the house on the second floor, and you'll see that in a second. And I think the screenshots are going to end up coming up soon. It cuts off a little bit quickly just because I got bored of having to do it on camera. But I do like that pink bathroom there. Looks nice and fun, I guess. There is screenshots of my house, so while you enjoy these, feel free to subscribe to my channel if you are in fact interested. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to see anything else. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and feel free to subscribe. Thanks. Bye.